What's going on, everyone? Dave Knittel here. My brothers have abandoned me. They have social lives like losers. I, on the other hand, have nothing going on and I'm just here watching some soccer. For those podcast listeners, welcome back. It's probably only been a couple of seconds for you. For anyone watching on YouTube, welcome. This is our day 3 of the 2018 World Cup recap. Today is Saturday, June 16th. Welcome to Bros Talking Soccer. For those watching on YouTube, we have a part 1. Go check that out. It's in the video description. And for podcast listeners, welcome. So we've already broken down France, Australia, and Argentina, Iceland. So I'm going to break down Peru versus Denmark and Croatia versus Nigeria. Those were the matches that just happened. And then I will give my thoughts on the matches for tomorrow. My brothers have already given their thoughts on part 1. So regarding the Peru versus Denmark match from today, ended up 1-0 to Denmark. I thought Peru came out just absolutely guns blazing, and they were just fun to watch throughout the whole match. But as the match kind of went on, you could kind of get the feeling that Denmark was almost rope-a-doping to a certain extent, or at the very least, it seemed like they were just feeling out Peru. And while Peru definitely threatened the goal, it seemed like Denmark was still in control, if that makes sense. So to start with, I thought that Guerrero not being in the starting lineup for Peru was a really interesting choice. I didn't see on any of the commentary if there was any injuries or anything like that, or if that was strict tactical decision. Hindsight being 2020, I thought he should have started. I thought when he came on, especially in the second half, that helped give Peru a different dimension, and that was really, really effective. Peru was shooting from absolutely everywhere, especially in the first 20 minutes or so. They were pulling the trigger from anywhere within 30 yards. They were pulling it, and it was making for some exciting soccer. I thought that it caused some problems for Denmark, and at least put some pressure on the Danish defense and also the Danish keeper, and just created some chances for them. But that seemed to dissipate as the game went on, and they stopped shooting from very far out, and they tried to work some more chances, and they had some good opportunities, but they just weren't able to finish. Sorry for any slur. I've been up for quite some time, was up early this morning, so please excuse any any words that I say wrong here, because it's going to happen. It's just bound to happen. I thought Peru was very aggressive, both offensively and defensively throughout the match. It was just cool to see them, and I don't really see them play too often, so I thought that they were just an interesting squad. It was really unfortunate that they lost. I thought that they, on the whole, probably deserved at least a draw, but they didn't get it. And so, you don't get what you deserve, you get what you earn. So that was unfortunate for them. Denmark didn't seem to have a ton of options in possession. I didn't think Denmark looked especially good. I thought they took their one chance very well. At least their goal they took well. I'm sure they had other opportunities, although none are strictly coming to mind. But I thought that they didn't have a ton of movement and weren't creating a ton. I thought Peru at least was interesting to watch and were kind of going all out. Denmark was very composed in possession, though, and looked like I didn't check the final numbers, but I would assume that they had more possession. It seemed like they were a little bit more cautious, a little bit more controlled throughout the match, whereas Peru, not Portugal, whereas Peru was very much like go and sort of attack. So that was interesting to see. I agree with the penalty decision. I know that it went to VAR, and there was a little bit of confusion there. I think it absolutely was a penalty. I thought Poulsen clearly came through Cueva and took out his leg, and so it's unfortunate that he missed the penalty. You got to hit the target. I know in part 1 we kind of talked about Messi. At least he hit the target, and it was a poor penalty. Or I don't view Messi's as a poor penalty. He hit the target. The goalkeeper went the right way. So Cueva he missed the target, and so you got to at least hit the net and make the goalkeeper make a play, even if it's down the middle or even if it's goalkeeper height or whatnot. At least you're hitting the target. When you miss the net entirely, you're letting them off the hook. So that was unfortunate to see. I thought his teammates tried to pump him up, and it seems like the crowd was trying to pump him up. But it's unfortunate for him. I'm sure he's feeling a lot of pressure and feeling like he let the team down. But he got himself into some good positions and played really well throughout the match. There's one other opportunity for him late in the game where I thought he held on to the ball a little bit too long and then tried to work a chance for somebody else, and that guy ended up fluffing his opportunity completely. But I thought he still had a good game overall. So I was, because I've been up for so long, I was actually making breakfast and trying to watch the game. So on Peru's goal, when I saw it, it looked like Denmark just played a pretty simple pass to split through Denmark's midfield, to split through Peru's midfield, and then we're just off to the races. I could have that wrong, but based on my notes and what I saw from the replays, it seems like it was way too easy to bypass Peru's midfield, and then they were just in on a breakaway, and then they weren't in step on the defensive line, and so the last defender was dropped way too far back and kept Poulsen onside, and then it was an easy through ball by I believe Eriksson, and it was a good finish, but that was just a bad play all around from Peru's perspective. Again, Peru just unfortunate not to earn a draw. I thought that they kept pushing. I thought that they were interesting to watch throughout the match, but ultimately Denmark, led by Kasper Schmeichel, I thought he was probably their best player, got the result. And so it ended up 1-0. And, it's interesting. So they are in with France and Australia. Again, sorry, bear with me. They were in with France and Australia. I had Denmark coming out of the group along with France, and so things are kind of setting up that way. From a Croatia-Nigeria perspective, that game just ended 2-0 to Croatia. Croatia just pretty much dominated and controlled the match almost throughout. Now, the first 15, 20 minutes or so was a little bit back and forth, and both teams were getting opportunities, or at least Nigeria was still in it. Then the rest of the game, Croatia really just controlled the match. I mean, with Rakitic and Modric in midfield, I mean, they're going to control most matches. And so for me, I thought that they did that, both playing kind of like a deep lying playmaker kind of role, both kind of dropping back almost to the back line in possession and just spraying the ball all over the pitch. I mean, their passing range is just incredible. And so they just absolutely controlled the match for Croatia, and Nigeria really just couldn't get anything going. I thought it was interesting when Croatia scored their first goal. It was a fortunate own goal deflection. But after they scored, a lot of teams kind of sink back and maybe start to absorb pressure, start to play a little bit more conservatively. They didn't do that whatsoever. If anything, the goal sort of galvanized them, and they played much better and then just kind of dominated throughout the match. So that was interesting and good to see if you're a Croatia fan perspective. Obviously, if you're a Nigeria fan, it was pretty disappointing on the whole from the whole match, because there really wasn't too many opportunities where Nigeria really threatened. Yeah, honestly, not too much else to say from this game. I thought Moses and Ighalo were very quick to go to ground throughout the match, and that's not going to endear you to the referee. And, you're going to get a reputation, and that's going to catch up to you eventually. So there may have been a foul or two on them that the referee didn't call, but there was 3 or 4 opportunities or 3 or 4 plays when they just clearly flopped. And so it's tough to have any sympathy for them on that. And then the penalty, which is the other kind of controversial, not even controversial, but the other talking point from the match. I mean, it was a clear penalty on Nigeria. The guy had his arms completely draped over Mandzukic, tackled him. No complaints. They can't have any complaints. And Modric stepped up. Great finish. And so after that, Nigeria was pretty much just gave up, to an extent. They just look broken. And I know it's a young team, and they're going against a really experienced side in Croatia, and Croatia just looked like competent, just professionals. They just closed out the game, and they just made Nigeria look like they didn't really know what they were doing. So props to them. And 2-0, they're set up very good in that group. I actually have Croatia coming out in first in that group, and and Argentina coming out in second, because I don't have a ton of faith in Argentina, and I really like what I'm seeing from Croatia. Now, as far as tomorrow's matches, which are Costa Rica, Serbia, Germany versus Mexico, and Brazil versus Switzerland. Costa Rica versus Serbia, I really like Serbia. I think that they have some really talented players, and I'm excited to see Sergej Milinkovic-Savic. I know I always get that name wrong, but SMS is his nickname, and so I'm excited to see him play tomorrow. I believe he's Serbia. To be honest, I'm really tired, and so if he's not him and I sound like an idiot, I apologize. But I'm excited to see him play tomorrow, and just the whole Serbia team. I think that they have a really strong squad, and I don't have a ton of faith in Costa Rica. I thought that they did extremely well in the last World Cup, and I thought that they obviously earned it coming through CONCACAF World Cup qualifying, but outside of Keylor Navas, I don't have a ton of faith in a lot of their players, and so I expect Serbia to come out and win that game, maybe 2-0 or so. From a Germany-Mexico game, that's going to be the highlight game of tomorrow. Brazil-Switzerland is going to be fantastic as well, but I think Germany versus Mexico is going to be the best game tomorrow. Mexico keeps coming out and saying that they're going to play Germany straight up. They're going to go after them, and Germany is obviously not going to back down from any challenge. And so I expect that to be a back-and-forth affair. Could be high scoring, and it's going to be fun to watch. I expect Germany to pull it out. I think Mexico's going through a little bit of turmoil, at least in the press. They are, and they've had some unfortunate injuries, and so you still don't know if Guardado is completely healthy. I know Reyes had to drop out, and there was one other player, I think Herrera, who was injured, and so you don't know the full status of his health. So I expect Germany to come out and handle the business. But again, I think it might be a high-scoring game, like a 4-2 type of situation with Germany prevailing in that one. Last match of the day tomorrow is going to be Brazil versus Switzerland. Exciting game. I am really high on Brazil. I picked Belgium to win in my brackets because I like picking fun brackets. I don't love picking, the teams that are the favorites. I just try to mix it up on that front. But in my head, if I had to pick, like if I was a pundit or something like that, I would pick Brazil to win the entire tournament. I really like their squad. I really like their depth. I think that they're playing exceptionally well. I like their manager and all of that. So I expect Brazil to come out and beat Switzerland tomorrow, but I don't expect Switzerland to roll over. And so I expect them to give Brazil a good game. Maybe it's like a 3-1, 2-1 situation with Brazil getting a late goal to maybe extend it. Maybe it's 2-1 till late, and then Brazil gets a late goal. So that's what I expect to happen in that match. So that is the end of another Bros Talking Soccer World Cup recap podcast. If you are watching on YouTube, thanks for tuning in. If you're listening to the podcast, we record this thing live on YouTube about 20, 30 minutes after the last match ends every day of the World Cup. So come hang out with me, and hopefully my brothers will be here. Tomorrow we're going to have Christian and Matt will both be back, and then we're going to have someone named JS from England giving us his thoughts on specifically Germany, but all the matches. But I know he's a big Germany fan. So again, thank you for watching. If you want to get in contact with us, our email is bros.talking.soccer@gmail.com. Our Twitter handle is @BTSoccerPod. I'm doing a lot of live tweeting of the matches and all of that. So please give us a follow and go check us out and interact with me on there. If you want to check out our website, it's brostalkingsoccerpodcast.com. You can read about me and my brothers, check out past episodes, and so much more. With that, that is the end of another Bros Talking Soccer World Cup recap podcast. I will be back tomorrow to talk to you soon. See you, everyone.